What is a cognitive construct? Cognitive construct, also known as constructivism, was pioneered by Jean Piaget. They construct meaning and understanding based on this prior knowledge. Learning is seen process of conceptual change whereby individuals construct new understanding of reality. Ang cognitive construction na kilala rin bilang constructivism ay pinasimulan ni Jean Piaget. Bumubuo sila ng kahulugan at pag-unawa batay sa dating kaalaman. Ang pag-aaral ay nakikita bilang isang proseso sa pagbabago sa konsepto kung saan ang mga individual ay nagtatayo ng mga bagong pag-unawa sa katotohanan. What is a self as cognitive construct? In cognitive psychology, the self is understood as contextual or ecological intertwining cognitive capacities with social experiences, and Bernard analysis affirms the novel's narrative where the self develops through cognitive and cultural interconnections. Sa nagbibigay malay, psikolohiya, ang sarili ay naiintindihan bilang konteksto o ecological, magkakaugnay na nagbibigay malay ng mga kakayahan sa mga karanasan sa lipunan at pagtatasa ni Bernard na nagpapatunay ay sa salaysay ng nobela kung saan ang sarili ay nabuo sa pamamagitan ng magkakaugnay at kulturang pagkakaugnay. The self as cognitive construct. Psychology may focus on the individual and the cognitive functions, but it does not discount the context and other possible factors that affect the individual. Ang psychology ay maaaring tumuon sa individual at mga nagbibigay malay sa pag-aandar, ngunit hindi binibigyan ng diskwento ang konteksto at iba pang mga posibleng kadahilanan na nakakaapekto sa individual. For students who take up psychology, discussions on theories and development, among others, actually take at least one semester and there are still more to be learned about the concept of self. Para sa mga mag-aaral na kumukuha ng psikolohiya, talakayan sa mga teorya, ang pag-unlad bukod sa iba pa ay tumatagal ng isang semester at may higit pa dapat malaman tungkol sa konsepto ng sarili. As mentioned earlier, there are various definitions of the self and other similar or interchangeable concepts in psychology. Tulad na nabanggit kanina, mayroong iba't ibang mga kahulugan ng sarili at iba pang katulad ng mapagpalit na mga konsepto ng sarili. Self is the sense of personal identity and of who are we as individuals. Ang sarili ay ang pakiramdam ng personal na pagkakakilanlan at kung sino tayo bilang mga individual. Other concepts similar to self are identity and self-concept. Iba pang konsepto na katulad sa sarili ay pagkakakilanlan at konsepto ng sarili. Identity is composed of personal characteristics, social roles and responsibilities, as well as affiliation that define who one is. Ang pagkakakilanlan ay binubuo ng mga personal na katangian, mga tungkulin sa lipunan at mga responsibilidad na kasama ang mga kakibat. Self-concept is what basically comes to your mind when you are asked about who you are. Konsepto ng sarili ay kung ano ang karaniwang pumapasok sa iyong isipan kapag tinatanong ka tungkol sa kung sino ka. Theories generally see the self and identity as mental constructs, created and recreated in memory. Ang mga teorya o theories sa pangkalahatan ay nakikita ang sarili at makilala bilang mga kontrol, nilikha at muling nilikha sa memorya.
Self-concept is a knowledge we present that contains knowledge about us, including our beliefs about our personal traits, physical characteristics, abilities, values, goals, and as well as the knowledge that we exist as individuals. It is primarily made up of physical characteristics, group memberships, and traits. The self-concept is so complex. It has extraordinary influence on our thoughts, feelings, and behavior, and we can remember information that is related to it well. Carver and Scheer identified two types of self that can be aware. First, the private self of, are your internal standards and private thoughts and feelings. Second, the public self or your public image commonly geared toward having good presentation of yourself to others. That is the two types of self. Self-awareness is having a clear perception of your personality, including strengths, weaknesses, thoughts, beliefs, motivations, and emotions. Allows you to understand other people, how they perceive you, your attitude, and your responses to them in the moment. Self-awareness refers to the extent to which we are currently fixing our attention on our own self-concept. Example of self-awareness is self-subordinate agreement. Second example of self-awareness, student-teacher agreement and judgment of performance on presentation. Self-schema organized into variety of different cognitive aspects. Self-awareness also presents us with at least three other self-schema: the actual self, ideal self, and out self. Actual self. A person's realistic appraisal of the qualities he or she does and does not possess. The role is a dominant in specific situation. This particular role affects the behavior, like the dressing style, talking, the way we conduct, and many more. Example of actual self. If I believe that I am a punctual person, the punctuality is part of my actual self. Next is the ideal self. The ideal self is a person's conception of how he or she would like to be, partially molded by elements a consumer's culture. Example of ideal self. My ideal self-image includes a strong work ethic. Next is out self. Person you believe you should be. Ito ay yung naniniwala ka kung sino ka sa pagdating ng araw. Kung sino maging gusto mo. Self-awareness may be positive or negative depending on the circumstances and our next course of action. According to the social comparison theory, we learn about ourselves the appropriateness of our behavior, as well as our social status. The social comparison process involves people coming to know themselves by evaluating their own attitudes, abilities, and traits in comparison with others. Example of social comparison. A honor student may compare herself to the star student of the class. Next, downward social comparison is the more common type of comparing ourselves with others. Example of downward social comparison. Observing your friend's poor skills actually makes you feel even better about your own abilities. Upward social comparisons. Comparing ourselves with those who better than us. However, narcissism is a trait characterized by overly high self-esteem, self-admiration, and self-centeredness. However, in the attempt to increase or maintain self-esteem, some people become narcissistic. An example of narcissism is when a person only thinks about himself and does not think about the feelings of others. Example of narcissism when you think you are good looking. That's all. Thank you.